Okay, so we talked about packages. Now everything we're going to include into our package is going to go in this root, right? So I've got source, main, Java, code, Tyler Maxwell. Everything's going to go in here. Okay. So if I want to make a new file, I'm going to do it the same way I've been doing before, right? I'm just going to say new file and I'm going to call it mammal.java. Okay. I think that's what they do on the platform. Let me double check. I forget now. Yeah, mammals. Cool. So I have my mammal and it's mad at me. What did I do wrong? There we go. It just didn't make the package declaration. Cool. Okay. So I've got my mammal. What does a mammal have? What do they say? Oh yeah, so regulate temperature, it sleeps. Yeah, I'm just gonna take this. Okay, so a mammal sleeps. I'm gonna take out sleep because obviously other animals sleep. So a definition of a mammal, right, is it nurses its young. I think that's what makes a mammal a mammal. Also, it can regulate its temperature, but I think other animals can do that. So what are the attributes of an animal? Like if I want to make an animal class, I'm sorry, not animal, I skip mammal. What are some attributes of a mammal?
Warm
Number
blooded.
of limbs.
Warm-blooded, right? So let's say private double body temp. Okay. What else?
Number of limbs.
Limbs, cool. So private, probably go with int for number of limbs. Okay. What else?
Building off what Brian put in the chat, like fur color.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
an assignable. We can assign that.
Private, let's say string. I can spell string, hair color. Cool. Having second thoughts about this. I'm gonna take this out. Okay.
I don't want to be picky, but a
No.
whale is a mammal and doesn't have a hair, so I don't think like having a hair color would be
I thought they
necessary
did.
for
I
a
thought they
mammal.
had like.
No,
Do
they
whales?
they they have hair or fur. It's like cilia, like whales. I'm on a website right now that's defining all the
Yeah. Thank you.
characteristics of a mammal.
Yeah.
But I don't think we should do hair color. We should do has hair,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
Nice.
so
That's
Boolean.
that's what I meant.
Yeah. I
Nice.
thought you said whale
Nice.
for some reason.
She did.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Boolean has hair.
yeah. And then we can change that to true or false, right? Or fur.
Right. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Has hair. So we have body temp, limbs. You guys see this okay? It looks small to me. Is that okay?
It's
Okay.
perfect.
All right. So I want to be able to make mammals. That sounded a little strange, but I want to be able to, in my program, I want to be able to have mammals. Like I say, I'm a zookeeper and I want to create mammals. What do I need? If I want to specify their body temperature, their limbs, their has hair. So let me remind you, all we need to do is decide the attributes. Then we've got a tool that'll help us generate the other code we need, right?
Is it
Aside
Garrison
from
Sims?
yeah, so we need well, first we need a constructor, right? If we want to be able to specify those things. I want to generate a constructor using all fields. If I want to set defaults, I can generate a no arg constructor. So generate empty constructor. And then since these fields are private, I definitely need getters and setters, right? I need to be able to manipulate or change these fields, right? Body temperature could change, you know, tragedies happen. The limbs number could be different. So I'm going to generate my getters and setters. And now we're ready to make mammals. But do we make mammals? Like, is there a way to say, go to a zoo and say, ask the zookeeper, where do you guys keep your mammals? Or show me a picture of a mammal, right? I wouldn't know what to make, right? So the mammal class is going to be a class that is what's known as the base class, or a class that other animals inherit from. Okay, so if I want to make a bat, let's say, I'm going to make a separate class for a bat. Okay, so I'm going to make a new file, bat.java. And a bat is a mammal, right? So if there's a relationship, then you want to use inheritance. You want to have the bat extend or inherit from the mammal class. So the syntax to do that is bat extends mammal. Okay. And I don't know why it's not putting the packages in. Okay. So it makes sense to make an instance of a bat, but it doesn't make sense to make an instance of a mammal, right? So if I want to make a bat, I'm going to go into my main class. And how do I make a bat? Oops. So here's my bat class. Bat extends mammal. But let's pretend bat has a constructor. How would I make, well, it doesn't even need a constructor. How would I make a bat?
Bat. Capital B, yeah,
Right. So we have to say what it is. It's a bat.
bat
So bat is the type. Bat is my variable.
equals new bat.
Equals new bat. Cool. So does my bat have hair?
Yes,
Let's find out. I'm going to S out bat dot get has hair. Uh-oh. Main isn't unique. Fix. I want that one. Okay, let me try that again. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Okay, let me open this in a separate window. That's what's going on. So what's happening is basically I'm running this inside of other packages. It doesn't know what to do. So I called it mammals. I'm going to open this in a new terminal. Open a new window. Close this. Java. It's got to think for a minute. It's thinking. There we go. Man. That's the wrong. That's going to be the wrong package now. There we go. Sweet. Took a while. So we don't have hair, right? Why does a bat not have hair?
It's defaulting.
Yeah,
To
it's
the
defaulting
mammal
because we didn't
class.
set it, right? Yeah, we made our mammal. We didn't set a default, right? So let's set up a bat so it makes sense when we make a bat what it has, right? So I'm going to make a constructor.
Is
So
the
I'm gonna use my-
default false?
Yes, the default for a Boolean is false. The default for numbers
number
is
is zero.
0, and then any other like string or any other type class type is going to be null. So if we don't set it, it'll be false.
Is a default for double always 0 as well?
I believe so. I think it's like 0.0. So code generators, I'm gonna generate an empty constructor. And how am I gonna ask this? So notice that before I made the constructor, there was no code in here whatsoever, but I was able to get the has hair, right? Because everything that's defined in a mammal, because the bat extends or inherits from the mammal, it gets all of these methods that exist in the mammal, right? So all the properties, all the getters and setters, everything is available in child classes. So if I want to set the has hair, how would I do that?
Would it be this dot has hair equals true? Does that work? Make sense?
This dot. I think I want to set has hair. Yeah, set has hair to
True?
true. Let's see if that works. So go to main, run it. There we go. Okay. Question so far. Okay. So what I'm doing is extending downward, right? I've got my parent class mammal that have my bat extend, but there are other types of animals, right? There's mammals, there's birds, I'm not a zoologist, so I don't know, but there's different types, right? Not every animal on the planet is a mammal. So if I want to have this be more extendable, I'm going to make another class that's going to be a parent class of the mammal. Okay. So I'm going to make a new file called animal.java. Okay. So in essence, I'm going from general to specific, right? So what I'm thinking is I'm going to refactor my mammal because all animals have a body temperature, right? All animals, well, maybe not all animals, but most animals have limbs. And we can kind of keep the has hair in here, I guess, because it wouldn't really make sense to, move it to the animal. But I'm definitely going to delete my getters and setters because they're easy to regenerate. Don't want to delete too much. Yep. And I'm going to move the limbs and body temperature in. What did I do? I'm going to delete my constructor too. Delete. And for some reason, I can't highlight with my mouse. It's bugging me. So I'm going to move these in. Hello? There we go. Move these into animal. Now, how do I get those properties back into the mammal class? Like, how do I get, because this is at this point, if I were to go to my main function and say bat dot get body temperature, it doesn't even populate it for me. It no longer has access to it, right? Because I've moved, first of all, I've deleted the getters and setters, but I've actually moved the property into animal. So how do I get these properties back into the mammal?
In the mammal, just public class, mammal extends animal.
There you go. There you go. So a mammal is going to extend animal. Okay. Because a mammal is a animal, right? So if there's is a relationship, then we extend. If a mammal is an animal, then we can extend the animal. Okay. So now when I'm going to recreate my getters and setters in the animal class, right? Because that's where the properties live. So in here, I'm going to code generators, getters and setters, save the file, and now notice the error in my main went away, right? Because the get body temperature that lives in the animal class it's kind of a chain reaction, right? So a mammal extends an animal, a bat extends a mammal. So I don't know why that is. Why is that not working?
I think it's because you deleted the getters and setters in mammal.
That's right. Thank you. That's why. Let's regenerate those. So we're only gonna have one, but that's okay. Getters and setters. Cool. This dot has hair. Oh, set has hair. To true. There we go. Okay. Makes sense so far? Questions, comments?
I got a question.
Yeah.
Why did you set has hair?
That's what the setter is called. So by convention, when we have a property, the property is called has hair. When you create a getter and setter, the convention is to say, make the setter called set, the property name, and then the getter is called get and the property name.
Well, if the default is false, right? Then what
Mhm.
couldn't you just do has hair and then set it to true still? Would it not do the same thing? Because the
Nice.
default is already false, right?
Nice. Good question. So I'm going to do this dot has hair, right?
And then set it to true.
Right. Why
Or
won't
in
that?
parentheses, put true.
Like this?
As far as I understand, is why that won't work is because has hair is a attribute, and we need a method because we can't change an attribute. We can only yes or
We
no
can
on
change an
method.
attribute, but it's a special kind of attribute.
It's private.
Right.
Mm.
Has hair is private. Private means it's only accessible within the class that it lives in. So if you want to be able to change it somewhere else, you need to use the getter and setter. So that's what we're going to talk about in the 4 pillars, the encapsulation, right? We're protecting our properties, we're building a wall around them. So if I change this to protected should work. Yeah. So if it's protected, then subclasses can access it. And whether you use private or protected is sort of a design decision, depends on the case, right? But generally, it's use what makes sense, but you want to default with them private. And if you want to change it to protected, if it makes sense to change it to protected, then you can. If not private, it's private. Okay. So this won't work now. So the only way to modify properties outside of the mammal class is to use the getter and setter. Okay. Does that make sense? Who asked? It was Nathan.
Yes,
Right?
definitely. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Set has here to true. Cool. 1 semicolon's enough. All right. Any other questions? Okay. What's something else that all animals do? I want to make some methods. I want to have my animals do something interesting.
They can move.
Yeah, they can move. So I want to make a move method. Yeah, drink water, eat. Let's start with, do all animals move?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I'm on the animal page again. There's only 3 things that make it an animal. It's movement, they have sensory organs, and they have internal digestion.
Nice. Okay, cool. So how do we give our animals the ability to move?
Do a Boolean
Mm,
private. Well, isn't it just true that they move? Right, so we can do like private Boolean.
so I'm saying I'm thinking like I'm looking at a rhinoceros in a zoo exhibit and it starts walking around, right? I want to allow
Similar
that
to like the
happen.
drive method, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to make a method because remember the properties are things that are true about it, right? The adjectives or the whatever, right? The verbs are the methods. So if I want it to do something, it's got to be a method. So I want to have this method accessible outside of this class. I want to be able to say bat.move, right? So I'm going to make it public. I'm just going to have it not return anything. So I'm just going to make it void for now. And I'm going to call it move. Okay. And what should I put? I'm just going to have it S out something. What should I have it S out?
S out, take steps.
There you go. Take steps. Sweet. So in my main method, I have a bat. And I want to say bat.move. And Visual Studio Code let me auto-populated it so it's accessible. So let's give it a try, see what we get. And we got the bat taking steps. I don't know that much about bats, but I don't think they take steps. I don't know. Right? When a bat moves, it flies. Otherwise, they hang upside down, as far as I know. So I've got my move method. That's cool. Right? All animals move. We've established that. But I want a bat to move differently. I want a bat to move the way a bat moves. So what I can do is what's known as overriding. So I can specify at override. This tells the compiler, hey, I'm going to override. There's a method that exists in another class. I'm changing it. So if I mess up, let me know, right? So it's going to be public void move. And I'm going to S out, I don't know.
I want to fly.
Yeah, I want to fly.
Like an eagle.
Yeah. I want to fly like a bat. All right. So now I've overridden the move method. So now if I go back here, if I haven't forgotten anything, it should say I want to fly like a bat. What is going on? What's going on? Bat.move. I swear, when people are watching me, it's like nothing works. But when I'm by myself, it's like, oh, yeah, no problem. I don't know why it's not running. What am I doing wrong? What did I do? No. All right, let's try the old turn it off and turn it back on. Cool. I don't know what was going on. So now we've overridden the move method and we're flying like a bat. Okay. Question so far.
I have a question, but I don't know if you want to answer maybe like towards the end of this, because kind of like already went over it. But it's
I'm kind of at the end. I've been talking for an hour, and I can see the looks are going like, when's this guy gonna shut up? So, whatever you got, I'm ready.
So, I just don't understand why we would use, or maybe if you can give me an example of a time you would use protected over getters. It seems like it's more code to do the same thing if you're using protected as getters and setters in private.
Yeah. An example of when you would use protected. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. Nothing's coming to mind, like what specific use case. I know it seems like, and this is the problem I had when I learned Java, is like, why make it private if you're just going to make a getter and setter, right? But this is what's known as a design pattern. This is tried, true, tested, right? People who are smarter than me have come up with this concept. So that's kind of it. I kind of take it on faith a lot of times and just say, well, I'm going to make it private unless I can think of a really good reason to make it protected. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come up with a actual use case. I don't know one off the top of my head.
I think in your getters and setters you can set up logging. So like whenever you want to know when something is being made or like changed.
Set up logging?
Yeah. Like in a real like application.
But I think he's asking like he's asking specifically, why would you use one access modifier over another?
Well, because if you're using protected, you don't necessarily need a getter or setter, right?
Right.
You can just change it on the fly.
Yeah. But why would you use protected instead of private?
That way, whenever you change it, if you're organized enough, you can set up, like in your methods, you can set up logging to know whenever you updated something in your, whatever, bat class.
Okay.
I think that's a good use case, but I'm sure that's not it.
Well, no, I'll take anything I get. I can't think of anything else. So, yeah, I mean, it's the kind of cheesy, annoying developer answer is it depends, right? It depends on the use case. If it makes sense to use protected, then use protected. But I think, Vincent, correct me if I'm wrong, it's private is the default, right? You want to stick with private unless there's a reason not to be private.
Yeah, that's what I remember from the platform, is setting it to private.
Yeah. But I'll look into it and see if I can find like a better. I know that I don't like that answer, so I'm assuming you don't like it either. I'll look it up and see if I can find a better use case. Any other questions?
I have
So
a
I'm
quick
gonna-
question.
Yeah.
Super fast. So like the same way you did override for the method, is there a way, so let's say your mammal, you set it to have like, I don't know, like 5 fingers, right?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And then you want to change that to be 3 for your bat.
Uh-huh.
How would you go about doing that? Would that be like an override, or since it's not a method, would you just like, I don't know, change it in there?
I would think you have so we have limbs, right? Limbs would be the same as fingers. We're not setting specifically a number of limbs for an animal, right? Because an animal can have I don't know how many limbs, 2, 4. I don't know if there's animals with 6 limbs, whatever, right? If you count the tail. So you would just when you do your constructor for a bat, right? I would set, like when you create a bat, you would set this dot limbs or set limbs
I see. Okay.
to what is it, a number? Yeah. So 2 limbs. And if we want to create additional properties in a bat, that's fine, right? If say you want to keep track of fingers, right? You would say private int fingers. This would probably be, I mean, bats aren't the only thing with fingers, but you get the idea. We could put it in mammal or some other. So we could create a property fingers that would only pertain to the bat or only pertain to animals or mammals with fingers.
Got it.
Okay.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Cool. Any other questions?
Yeah,
I'm
I've
not
got
done.
one.
Yeah.
So you put the override in the bat. So does that override only pertain to the bat? Like, let's say you wanted to go back to the mammal, could you override that same move function for the mammal, and it would only apply to that mammal?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense for a mammal to move, right? So what
Well, I mean, what if you created another thing and you called it a dog.java, and then in dog.java you wanted to override move and say, no, I do want to walk and not fly. Would those overrides collide, or would that override for the bat still work, or would the override for the dog apply to both of them because that's the most recent override?
Good. So a dog is a mammal, right? So we're going to say extends mammal. But a dog isn't a bat, right? So the override we did in a bat isn't going to affect the dog. So as long as the dog extends mammal, which extends animal, I forget where we put we put move in animal. So the move class or the move method will be available on a dog. So if I come in here, make a dog equals new dog, I can say dog dot forget what move was the system out, right? Yeah, so dog dot move should just say so weird. What am I forgetting? I want to fly like a bat. Is it above? Take steps. There it is. I'm just not seeing it. So that's when I invoke the dog move method, it just takes steps, just like what's in the parent class. And the bat move method says I want to fly like a bat. So as long as we don't like, if we had extended dog from bat, which would be silly, but if we did, then the dog would want to fly like a bat when it moved. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
Thank
we
you.
kind of have, yeah. So we kind of have this situation, like we have an animal that extends a mammal, and then we start branching. We have bats over here that have their own methods, and then at this point we have a dog over here that has its methods. So the override we do in the bat only goes up the chain. And if we don't override anything in the dog, it's just going to inherit the method as it is. Cool. Any other questions? All right, I'm going to shut up there because we've been going for more than an hour. We'll continue this. I'm not done. There's a reason I'm doing this. I know it sounds silly, we're making animals, but there's a method to my madness. And we'll get into interfaces and abstract classes this afternoon. All right, let me stop sharing, stop recording.